What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Awaken Your Champion podcast. So, I had a whole topic planned out for this episode, and I'm going to hold off on that one because I honestly kept trying to record it and it just like was not flowing because I think there's so much I want to talk about in that around that topic. So, today we're going to talk about something a little bit different, and I want to talk about the concept of quality over quantity. All right, so I feel like a lot of high performers, athletes, entrepreneurs, creatives, we kind of get stuck in this loop of thinking, okay, if I do more, if I work faster, then I'm gonna be more successful. Like I will see better results, I'll have a higher chance of winning or succeeding, and we kind of we get stuck in this more loop. And this idea for me of quality over quantity has been something I've been really conscious of in the last few weeks, and I've been really focusing on really embodying what that means. And the results I'm seeing is really incredible. So, I want to kind of describe this when it comes to athletics and other realms of high performance, and kind of talk about how this actually is really impactful concept to grasp. So, like I said, a lot of us we kind of get fixated in on this idea of like, okay, more. If I do more, if I work harder, then I'm going to be successful. I see athletes doing this, like, like especially like team sport athletes. They're like, okay, we have their daily practices, 6 times a week. Obviously, you have games, there's lifting sessions, and I'll see athletes, doing extra reps, extra training on their days off. Um, I used to be like this. I actually used to be kind of overboard. So when I did bodybuilding, especially, and was really into weightlifting, I literally had days where I would go to the gym 3 times. Was there any benefit to that? No. No, there was not. It didn't help me see better results in like how I looked. It didn't make me stronger. No. The only reason I did that was because honestly, I used to use the gym a bit as a way to cope with how I was feeling if I was having like a stressful day. I used the gym. And I do think the gym has and training, has its benefits. I think that there's a lot of benefits to your mindset and your mood. But if you're using it as a way to cope, uh, and not really phase how you're feeling and what's going on, that's when it's not really healthy. So, yeah, I did have a few times where I did go to the gym 3 times a day, and those were days when I was not feeling my best. Um, and I also have had times where I was trying to lose body fat. This might be a trigger warning, hopefully not, if anyone has like a disordered eating type situation, but hopefully not. But when I didn't understand how to lose body fat, I would do like extra cardio. I would like cut my food calories a bit more, thinking that, more of a drastic change would be beneficial for me, thinking that it would give me better results. Thinking if I went heavier in the gym, did extra sets, extra reps, that would help me. I even did that when I was trying to build muscle. Like I thought that more would help me, but it didn't. It actually if you're familiar with like investment, it's like diminished, what is it? Diminished return on investment, basically, meaning that there comes a point where doing more work isn't actually helping you, it's actually hurting you. Um, so in an athletic setting, when we embody quality over quantity, what this means is instead of thinking, oh, I need to do more reps, I need to do more training sessions, I want you to focus on the quality of your current training sessions. You know, what if you didn't do any extra reps, no extra training sessions, and you just said, you know what, I am going to give my very best in the training sessions that I currently have and see what happens, right? Like, I used to always say, isn't it better to give 100%, like absolute 100% in your 5 training sessions a week? then like 75%, and then do like 8, right? You're saving yourself time, you're saving yourself energy, and you're going to get more out of those 100% quality training sessions than doing a bunch of like half-ass reps, half-ass training sessions, right? And if we're thinking about personal greatness, we're thinking about being highly successful. If you're training yourself subconsciously that 75% is your normal, how do you expect to give 100% when it really matters, like in a competition, right? So you want to train yourself to be the kind of person that gives your best all the time. And if you're focusing on quantity versus quality, well, you're not really doing that, right? So quality over quantity has been like this game-changing concept for me as an athlete and as an entrepreneur, as a really just everything all of the dreams I have, all the goals that I have. If you're an athlete, ask yourself, okay, how can I just make sure I'm giving my absolute best in what I'm currently doing instead of needing to give extra? Because if you're giving 100% in your current plan, do you really need to do extra? Maybe not. I also noticed this in entrepreneurs, creatives. We think, I need to do more work. I need to do um, put more hours into my craft. I need to create more art. I need to put more out there, more content, more videos, more resources. And if you're focusing on quality or if you're focusing on quantity, and you're putting out a lot of output, but it's not great quality, do you expect to get back quality clients? People that really value your work? Probably not, right? So it's better to have less output, but make sure it's quality output. Make sure it's full of good energy, right? Like for myself, it's so common to hear on like when you hear like entrepreneurial advice, they're like, you got to post 3 times a day, you got to do this, you got to send 15 messages a day. Like, I don't do that. I don't do that because I'm not about quantity, I'm about quality. I would rather have 2 quality clients, a few quality teams I work with, than 15 that don't care, don't respect my work, don't respect the value I have to give, that don't align with me. It's so much better to have quality in everything than just the quantity, right? So, whatever your avenue of high performance, I want you to ask yourself, how can I start embodying this concept of quality over quantity? How can I make sure that my training sessions are me giving my very best, not just in effort, but also in attitude, in my own mindset and how I talk to myself. How can I go into every training session with this intention of I'm here to get better today. I'm not just gonna go through the motions and then do more reps later on to make up for it. How can I really push myself in my current plan? You know, um, Creatives, entrepreneurs, like if you're creating a video, if you're creating a piece of like a resource, if you're writing a book, instead of trying to make 5 at once or put 10 videos out a week, why don't you just focus on making a few really quality pieces of content? Put your heart into it, put your soul into it, because that's what people resonate with, right? Like people want quality, people want authenticity, people want to feel that energy of like, wow, this person really put a lot of effort into this, a lot of heart and soul into this. You know, that's gonna land so much more, be so much more impactful than just putting a bunch of stuff out there, right? And I think we think of AI too. I mean, it's so easy to use AI. I can easily use AI to create a bunch of content for me, write a bunch of captions for me. But that's not me. That's not coming from my heart and soul. That's not representative of like me, what I'm really about, you know? And people don't want to read that. People want to read the real stuff, you know? So it's better to just focus on the quality over just the quantity, right? And as you really, you know, embody what that means, things will just kind of, I feel like it'll just like unfold. Like you'll be able to give more quality content, give more quality um in general. You know, as an athlete, I feel like if you're currently putting in extra reps, doing extra training sessions, but it's not really you giving your 100% and your whole heart into everything. You know, if you cut back on those training sessions and just focused on, you know, how can I be as intentional as possible in what I'm currently doing, that's gonna expand the results you see so much because when you're being 100% present, 100% intentional with what you're doing, 100% focus on what you're currently doing, and you're just giving your very best, that's going to translate into your performance on the field, on the court, on the track, right? You're going to start to notice that that becomes your new baseline. You know, what used to be your normal is way below where your normal is now. Like you're going to create a new baseline of what's normal for you, what normal effort is for you, what normal mentality is for you. You know, and then you get to up level again from there, right? Like what used to be your normal, which maybe was like 75%, you thought was, you know, giving your very best. You start to really focus on quality over quantity, your baseline increases. That's your new baseline of what's acceptable, of what the effort that's required to put into your training sessions. That's going to be your new baseline. And then after a while, you're going to be able to create an even higher baseline. And now imagine going into practices every day with this crazy high baseline of what it means to give your very best. Not just an attitude, not just an effort, but an attitude in, you know, the heart that you put into it, the way you communicate with your teammates, you know, the upliftment you give because now you're like, oh, I want to make this count as much as possible. And then watch how that translates into your gameplay. You know, like it's those little 1% that differentiate between champions and the rest. And so if you're really giving like 100%, 110% in your training sessions, that's how you're training yourself to be in a game, in a competition when it really matters. And it's that extra energy, that extra effort that's going to make all the difference when you're in a neck and neck game. You know, if you're a track athlete and you're neck and neck with your opponent and you're in this race, if you are putting in this all of your heart, all of your soul, this crazy intensity and positive mentality in training sessions, that's going to translate into your races. If you're a soccer player or a basketball player and you're training with that level of intensity, that level of heart in your practices, imagine how you're going to be in your games. You know, so this is what I mean by quality over quantity. It's not just about going through the motions. It's not just about doing more reps. It's about the energy that you're putting into each rep. Are you making every single rep count? Are you making every single drill count? Are you putting your heart into it? Are you giving your whole spirit? Because ultimately, you started this endeavor because you love what you're doing. There's a passion, there's heart that you have, there's love you have for this craft, whether it is your sport, whether it is your business, whether it's writing your book. You have a love for it. That's why you started this in the first place. You know, and if you can keep that in mind in every little moment, the performance, the outcome that you see is going to be that much greater because there's a different energy that you put into what you're doing when there's just heart and soul than just going through the motions. You know, I actually had to re-record this episode like 5 times because I kind of felt like I was kind of in this mentality at first of, oh, I need to record this episode. I told myself I was going to record it. You know, I want it to be really good. And I just was so in my head, you know, and I kept having to like stop it and restart it and stop and restart it. But I had to, once I kind of got myself out of my head And I literally, like before this episode, I literally was like, Sarah, like just speak from the heart, just speak from the heart. Like you want this to be an impactful episode. It's not about having tons of episodes, it's about having quality. And I feel myself getting more and more lit up as I'm talking right now because now I'm like really not focused on the outcome. I'm so focused on just like this, I'm really passionate about this, And if you're listening to this, I bet you can feel the difference in how I'm speaking, in the energy I'm giving, because I'm speaking from my heart, from my spirit. And if you can give that kind of energy in everything you're doing, you're gonna see different results. You're gonna see different outcomes, you know? So that's really the message today. Quality over quantity. And I want you to think of your arena of choice, right? I said this in the last episode. Your arena is really like, your realm of high performance, whether it's soccer is your realm, is your arena, or maybe it's a business that you're building, or maybe it's writing a book. Like that's your arena of choice, the arena of writing a book, the challenges that come with it. You know, being an athlete, there's challenges that come with it. That's your arena, right? You're kind of battling with like these bits of adversity, you're giving your best effort, you're tired, but then you're motivated, but then it's just like this give and play of ups and downs and lessons and growth and highs and lows. That's your arena. So I want you to first think of your arena of choice and ask yourself, how can I embody quality over quantity moving forward? If you have a competition tomorrow, if you have a practice tomorrow, if you have a lifting session, ask yourself, how can you give quality effort and not just go through the motions? Does that mean giving an extra rep when you're in a lifting session? Does that mean giving more encouragement to your teammates? Does that mean speaking up louder? Does that mean, you know, being more prepared for your session nutrition, in terms of nutrition or your sleep, right? Like getting there 5 minutes early to get mentally prepared for the session instead of arriving right on time and then coming in with this like scatterbrain energy, right? How can you focus on quality over quantity? And the same goes for other realms. Ask yourself, how can I really focus on quality over quantity of what I'm doing? And then I want you to ask yourself, how can I start to embody this concept outside of my arena, right? Because who we're being in our sport, in our arena, translates into who we're being outside of it, and vice versa, right? If you want to be a confident athlete, practice being confident in general. If you want to, there's tons of examples, but think about how can I embody that outside of my arena because it's all connected, you know? So those are the questions I want you to ask yourself. I would love for you to comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can comment on this video. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can absolutely comment as well. I want to hear, what is one thing you're going to do to embody quality over quantity? Or maybe it's, where does it mean? Where are you going to focus on quality over quantity? Is it in a training session? Is it in, writing content for your business? Is it in conversations you have with people, not just going through the motions of talking and listening, right? Where can I embody quality over quantity, right? Champions, people that are successful, they focus on quality over quantity. They're not just going through the motions. They make what they're doing count, they make it intentional, and they give really positive, heart-filled energy with what they're doing. So ask yourself this. I would love to hear in the comments uh what you're going to do about this, how you're going to embody quality over quantity. And with that, thank you so much for listening. This one's a little bit of a shorter episode, I think. But I really hope you guys liked it. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would love if you subscribed, like the video, give me a comment, and also follow along on Spotify. And again, you can comment, rate 5 stars if you liked it. And also share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Share it with a fellow high performer, share it with a teammate, share it with a friend who's also building a dream, who needs to hear this message because this concept has literally changed my life. Like I've been really focusing on this concept in the last few weeks, and it's been making a really powerful difference in just so many aspects of my life. So I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comments. Um, one more thing I want to just say, I want to show you guys if you're watching this as a video. This is the Champions Journal. I'm really excited about this. I get more and more excited about it like every day, watching people like get their own copy, and I just can't wait to hear, how they grow as they go through this journal. So if you are interested in getting your own copy and starting the journey of a champion and really transforming yourself from the inside out, I will make sure to leave a link to purchase it in the description box of this podcast and the video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I am excited to chat with you guys soon, and I really hope you guys liked this episode. I really hope that it spoke to you and hit you in a way that was really impactful. And I'm excited to talk to you guys next time. Bye.